morning everyone. I hope you can hear me this time. I've reset my iPad, so hopefully we should be back in business. I'm going to see if anyone can see and comment, and then I'll know what I'm doing. But good morning anyway. I'll just carry on talking for a minute. And welcome to Sugar and Crumbs. My name is Tracy Mann from Tracy Mann Cakes, and this morning I'm going to show you how to paint a Christmas jumper. So we have got Christmas Jumper Day coming up on Friday the 11th of December. So I'm going to show you a few Christmas jumper designs. I'm going to show you one today, but I'm going to show you some over the next few weeks. So that you can have a go at painting some. Obviously they're painted because I do a lot of painting, and I think you'll really like this. It's a really interesting effect, this, and it's something different. So if you are thinking of raising any money, I believe it's Save the Children. If you are doing any fundraisers for Save the Children, then the Christmas Jumper Day, as I say, is coming up, and I've got a little cutter that you can use, and it gives you an opportunity to do some practice painting as well. So we do like to do a bit of practice painting, you know what I'm like, so to get you all going. Good morning everyone. I can see some people coming on now. Good, excellent. Good morning Christine. Who have we got? Good morning Karen. Gee, it comes up very quickly when you start commenting, you see. It goes and I've missed it all. That's lovely. I'm really pleased that you've joined me today. It's not very nice here in Buckinghamshire today. It is actually raining and horrid. So if it's raining and horrid, we might as well do some painting, mightn't we? Because it's quite a nice thing to do anyway. So don't forget to like and share. Thank you, Breeder, because I always forget to say that. So don't forget to like and share. With no chance to win a voucher, I believe, for Sugar and Crumbs. That sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? So hopefully you can all hear me. I was having a few technical difficulties earlier. I've reset my iPad, given it an update. Was looking at it 5 minutes before I was due on, going, I hope it's going to update soon, because it's not going very quickly. You know, when you agree to do an update and you can see it moving, and you think, yeah, it needs to do a little bit faster because I'm actually sort of going to be live at 11:30, so please hurry up. Yeah, so we're live and it's all working, so I'm very happy about that. So as I say, I'm going to show you this morning how to paint a jumper for Christmas, because of Christmas Jumper Day that is coming up on Friday the 11th of December. So if you are creating any jumper cookies, biscuits for fundraisers for Friday, next Friday, not this Friday, not tomorrow, then I've not only got the cutter for you, I've made a cutter. It's very advanced me, you know. I've actually got it's highly unusual for me, but I have actually created my own cutter. It's been 3D printed as well. It's very technical, this. So I'm rather pleased with it. So it is on my website. If anybody wants to get it, then you're very welcome to pop over to the Christmas shop on my website, which you can see the address in front of you now, tracyscakes.co.uk. If you pop in there, you'll see it, but I'm going to show you what it looks like anyway. And good, I'm glad you can hear me. I'm thrilled about that, because you go live and you think, oh, I hope it's okay, but you never know. Anyway, we're going to give this a go this morning. So let's take this down now. So let's have a look at the cutter. I invented this. I'm very pleased with myself. So this is the new jumper cutter that I have got now on my website. It's all 3D printed. It's very flash. And when it's cut out, that's what it looks like. So it's a really nice shape. I've also made a cookie, here we go, that goes alongside it. Now, over the last few weeks, I've been doing, I've dipped them in chocolate, and I've done various other demonstrations. I'm going to do a couple of YouTube videos in my spare time, obviously, over the next few weeks, and show you the other things you can do with it. But I've done some transfers on them, and I've transferred some patterns on using a hairdryer as well. So today I thought, well, we'll paint one, because painting is what I normally do on a Thursday morning. So we're going to have a go at that. And it doesn't need too many complicated colours. Let me just get myself some kitchen roll ready. It's a lovely jumper, isn't it? Now, if anyone wants to know what size it is, because somebody's bound to want to know, I've also made a waistcoat that goes alongside it. My waistcoat, let me see what I've got here. Yeah, there's a waistcoat, and that's what the waistcoat looks like. So that's the waistcoat that goes with the jumper, and they do actually fit in a box together. They're actually quite sweet. This is the one that I have done with a transfer sheet and a hairdryer. So that's a waistcoat, and all I've done is just, you can see what I've done is I've marked it up and turned that into a waistcoat. But I'm going to do the jumper today, but I'm going to paint it. I'm not going to paint the cookie directly. I'm going to paint a little bit of sugar paste, and then I'm going to pop that on there. So Kelly, my daughter Kelly, and I, we had big discussions about this, what we were going to do, because she's not here today, so it's just me on my own. And she came up with this idea, so I have Kelly to thank for this. So I'm sure you will love it, because it is great. I've done 2 or 3 of them already and they do look amazing, so enjoy. I think you're going to want to do this for sure. So let me just pop that one out of the way. So say the cutters are on my website now. They're £3 each, or this one's 3 and I think the other one's £2.85, or you can buy them together. But I have visions of doing a few more cookies next year because I did get into this a bit too much, I have to say. I love it. And ironically then Christmas jumper days come along, and that, believe you me, was not planned because I don't plan anything, it just happened. So Christmas jumper day is on Friday, so if you're raising money or doing anything, then this is a good tutorial for you to have a look at. And I say I will be doing a few more jumpery things over the next few weeks or so, but if you want to do it for next Friday, get the cutter before the post is very erratic at the moment, I have to say. It goes from being, the post goes from being next day to 3 weeks. It's a complete nightmare. So if you are, for all things Christmas now, honestly, I would start ordering. That includes me as well. I am now panic buying in the evenings when I realise I haven't actually done half my Christmas shopping. It's my daughter's birthday tomorrow, so it's my eldest daughter. She's 24 tomorrow, so there'll be a very nice cake for you to all see tomorrow. So I've been doing that as well, but I've got all her presents. I've done all my usual thing and wrapped everything up for her, and then go, and I haven't got anything for Christmas, and it's literally like 3 weeks away, so it's very poor planning from my part. So if you are ordering anything online, I would do it sooner rather than later, just purely because of the post. So not only me, but for everybody else. Do I have a cookie recipe? Do you know I do actually, but I haven't written it up yet. This one is particularly good, and I will write it up and I will let you know. So I will do that in the next couple of days. Tomorrow I'm doing a bit of work, but not too much. I'm going to have afternoon tea tomorrow, so I will be out tomorrow with my daughter. But I will be around and I will find you a really good cookie recipe. But I'm going to say to you, all these amazing icing sugars that Carol has on her website, I'm sure are going to create some amazing cookie flavours. So if you are thinking of making some gingerbread ones or some toasted marshmallow, and I didn't really see that bag of icing sugar because Kelly had whipped that out before I even had a chance to touch it. She saw it and that was it. So any of the flavours that Carol makes with her icing sugars, I'm sure would work brilliantly in any of these cookie recipes. So yeah, give it a go and see what you can come up with. I'm sure you can generate some amazing things. And what I'm going to do over the next few weeks is I'm going to do some of them painted with sugar paste, some of them with transfer, some with chocolate, to give you a bit of variety so that you're not just feeling, oh, I just don't, you know, might do some royal icing ones next year as well. I'm not sure I'm going to have a chance to do royal icing now before Christmas, but after Christmas, royal icing is on my list, and I will do that as well, but we'll expand it from here on in. Right, so we're going to paint. We're going to paint with cocoa butter. That is what I do a lot of painting with. For those of you that don't know what that is, it looks like, I'm going to turn this over. There we go. That's what it looks like. It looks like little buttons. So it looks like it's a smaller version of sort of milky button type things, but you wouldn't eat them like that. They are to be melted. And then we're going to paint them with dusting colours. Okay, so here we go. So this is the dusting colours. Now I'm going to tell you the colours we're going to use in a minute. Now we don't use pastes, we don't use gels or anything like that for this type of painting. We are going to be, so don't use this, put that away. That's your buttercream stuff. You don't want that. Brilliant in buttercream, not very good for painting. Cocoa butter is the best thing for painting. Now I've got half an eye on my candle. I think it's going to survive this live, but you never know. We'll see how we go. So cocoa butter needs to be melted. I'm just going to bring this in under the screen a bit so you can see it. Now I have one of these, which is called a chrome food warmer. Now you don't need to have one. If you've got one, they're brilliant because you've got a little heat source in there that stays lit the whole time, unless your candle's looking a bit ropey like mine is. I'm half thinking I might dive under my desk and see where the spare candles are and just switch it over, because I know my luck, I'll be painting away and wondering why nothing's happening. So I may well just change that. I'll just pull that out and then just pop a new one in. It's very straightforward. There we go, like so. So these are, all you do is replace your tea light. If you don't have one of these, they are available on Amazon for about £10 for in chrome food warmer. Otherwise, if you don't want to purchase one, you just want to have a go, then just use a bowl of boiling water with a paint palette over the top, and it should be absolutely fine. You don't need to, you just need to change your water roughly every 20 minutes or so when the water starts to cool down, and that's all you need to worry about that. Right, okay, let's get this going. So I'm going to just light this first. Please cooperate. There we go. Right, and then what I'm going to do is put a metal paint palette on the top. Now this is going to get hot. Now if you don't have one of these, again, you can just use, if you're using the boiling water method, you can just use a plate. You'll need to use a china plate, but don't use your best china. And then what this does is this gets really hot, especially this one, really, really hot. So we just take our cocoa butter and we just pop that on. And again, you don't need very much. I'm going to use a little bit more this morning though, because we have actually got quite a big area to paint. So I'm just going to put a few extra ones in and let that melt. And you'll be able to see this melt while it's live, which is quite nice, isn't it, really? Now the colours I'm using today, I have got gooseberry green. These are sugar flare colours. I've also got snowflake, and I have got black, and I have got red. So quite Christmassy colours. The gooseberry green I found was quite a nice bright colour, but again, you can use whatever you like. It doesn't matter. I wonder if anyone's worked out what I'm doing yet. Right, okay, so I didn't put any pictures on my Instagram today. I didn't give it all away. Normally I put pictures on my Instagram of what I'm doing, but I didn't today. I'll put them on afterwards and then you can have a look, can't you? So I'm just going to put a little bit of white in there. I usually put white and black on the opposite sides. Whoops, to stop them getting muddled up. Is everyone losing their glasses this morning? Is that what you're talking about? Luckily for me, and honestly, I think luckily for me, I need mine on all the time, except when I go to sleep, which is good because I think I would never find my glasses. It would be horrendous because I'm always putting stuff down and not knowing what I've done with it. So I think glasses for me need to be well and truly on my face, otherwise I would have trouble. Now I have got, now you can do this two ways. You can actually paint this. I'm going to move this forward a little bit. You can paint this as is and then put it on the biscuit. You can do it that way, or you can put it onto the biscuit first. Now personally, I think I'm going to paint mine off the biscuit, then I won't get any bits of paint on the biscuit itself, and then I'm going to lay it on afterwards and pop it on with a bit of piping gel, or you can use something like royal icing if you just really let it down. So if you add a bit more water to it so it becomes very sort of liquid, you can kind of just paint that on and then just lay the jumper on that way. So let's move the cutter out of the way. Not that I'm very pleased with my cutter, because clearly I am. And we're going to use some paint brushes. So we're going to use a couple of paint brushes. Now we've got my new paintbrush here, which is the Flat 2. This is available on the website. The delivery is due today. If anybody is waiting for one, honestly, I've been shocked actually as to how many people have wanted this new brush, but it's here. So you're going to need this brush for this one, or you can use, if you are in possession of my brushes, you can use brush 3. Where's brush 3? It's that one, which is it's not flatter, but it's got a bit of extra sort of bristles on it, because you're going to need that to paint the whole thing, because it's quite a big area. Ironically as well, you're also going to need the narrower brushes today. So you're going to need brush number, where are we, 1 and 0. So 0 is the really small brush, and brush number, well, that's 2. We don't want that one yet. What's this one? They've got numbers on them, you see. It helps me as much as it helps you. Well, that's just typical, isn't it? And I've got 3 number 2s in front of me. What's this? Number 1. There we go. So I've got brush 1, 0, and my flat 2. So these are the brushes that I'm going to be using today for my detail bits and pieces. So let's get started. You can see while I've been chattering away that the cocoa butter has now melted. So I'm just going to turn this around, because we need to start with the red, like so. You need a little bit of kitchen roll as well, just to clean your brushes in between. I've just put my brushes down and I've muddled them all up. I'm moving these out the way. Right, okay. Let's put that back there so I can see what I'm doing. It's very sort of, there's some organisation going on to the right hand side here. Unbelievably. Right, we'll move the cookie out of the way as well. Now I've got this, I did only cut this out literally just before I came on, so it's moving around on the icing sugar, so that I can shift it about and paint it. So that's why it's there. But what I would suggest you do is, once you've cut them out and painted them, is get them on your cookie, because I think if you try and settle them down when they've dried, they may crack. So as soon as you can get them on, the better. So right, so let's get going. Now I'm just going to check what's in this brush, which is red, which is absolutely fine because that's what I want. So let's start. So all I'm going to do is take my brush number 1, go across to the red and pick it up and just start mixing it. So the more paint, the more dust you put into the mix, the thicker the paint. So if you put in not a lot of paint and lots of cocoa butter, you're going to get quite a translucent paint. Somebody said to me the other day how much. My honest answer to you is sit there and try and mix it yourself. Get yourself a bit of sugar paste and just paint something, and then keep going, keep adjusting it until you realise yourself, because I can only say so much. It's one of those things you've actually got to do to work out what it needs to be. We want really reasonable coverage with this. So this is just red on its own. There's nothing else strange going on here. And all I'm going to do is I am just going to paint an outline. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Now someone's going to say to me at some point, why didn't you just dye the cookie in the first place? Well, actually I quite liked the effect of this when I finished. It looked a little bit cartoony, which was not what I expected, but I liked it. So I was happy with that, because I do lots of testing, you see, to see what things come out like. And I was quite pleased with that, actually. So we're running with it. And it's quicker than royal icing, I have to say. If anybody does royal icing cookies, this is definitely quicker. I do like royal icing cookies, but it's all the waiting in between for colours to dry, and whereas this dries pretty much, I wouldn't say instantly, but 1 to 2 minutes and it's dry. There we go. So we'll start with that. There we go. Are you enjoying yourselves? I can read some of the comments. Right, Joanna, come on, you need to start painting. I'm going to challenge you now to paint this, and then I want you to put it on Sugar and Crumbs, and I want you to tag me in it to show me you've done it. You see, that's what I need to see. You've had a go. She's probably thinking, oh, I shouldn't have said anything now. Bless you. Right, so we've got that laid out basically. Let me just put that in there, and like so. Now I'm going to just mix up some of this gooseberry green. Now I'm just going to use my zero brush at the moment because it's just the brush I've picked up, but I'm going to mix some white into this. So gooseberry green on its own is too strong. You will need to mix some white into it. And all I'm going to do is just paint a line, actually. So from just the underside of this bit that I've just done here. Now I'm just doing this to give myself some boundaries, otherwise I'll be all over the place. And we're going to just paint, let's turn this way, and we're going to paint down there like so. Okay, so that's our boundary. Now we're going to do the sleeves. So let's turn it this way. Never leave anything in the position where you can't paint. If your hand's doing all this and you're all round the wrong way, then you need to move. You need to move what you're painting. You really don't need to struggle with this. You just need to move it. So we're going to put some stripes on the sleeves here. So we'll start at the top. Now the brush I've got here is brush number 1. So I'm literally just going to lay it down, let the width of the brush do the business. Okay, and I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to keep them apart like so. And again. So just press your brush down, and that will do the width for you. Okay, I'll come down a bit further like so. You don't need to be good at drawing, do you, Mo? She's just written there, Maureen. You don't need to be good at drawing. Honestly, this is so lovely to do. You really, it's very relaxing, and it's very stressful at the moment for lots of people. And I've been going on about painting quite a lot this year, and I know I've converted a few people, but it is a lovely, lovely thing to do. And as I think I said the other day, you know, when I'm not working, not very many times, but when I'm not working, I'm painting. I just love it. And it can be anything. I paint with acrylics and all sorts of things. So we're going to paint like that, and then we're going to turn this around. Now it's actually easier to paint it upside down. I know it's really strange, but it is. And then all you need to do this way is just go across like so. And you can roughly see the angle, well, certainly for the first view anyway, and then I usually turn it back round again. Just gets you started. And then, so don't paint them too close together. Let's turn it back round again. It's much quicker than doing it with royal icing. And I think you'll like the effect at the end. And I'm going to say with painting as well, is that there's all, it's the same, I always say it's the same as novelty cakes. When you do a novelty cake, I remember the very, very first time I ever taught a novelty cake, and honestly, the students were like distraught. We don't like our cakes. And I was thinking, oh my goodness me, what's gone wrong here? And then this was a 4-hour class. And after about another 2 hours, they suddenly went, oh, we love it. And I thought, what's happened? What's changed? And it's that initial bit when you start and you think, oh no, look at this cake. It looks terrible. You know, you can see you haven't covered any of the floors, or, you know, put a butterfly on your mistakes or anything like that. And suddenly it all changed, and they were, oh, we love it. It was great. And I was thinking, oh, yeah, didn't like it for 2 hours, but the last 2 hours you really liked it. So all I'm going to say to anybody that's about to have a go at painting is see it through, and I mean that sincerely, especially anyone who's doing anything like my courses. So I've got lots of online courses, especially the animal ones. Now the animal ones, the wildlife ones, they can be the most notorious for looking pretty quite terrible until the end. And even me, I'm painting away thinking, oh my goodness me, what am I doing? And then all of a sudden it just transforms and you go, well, there you go, what was I worried about? So just think about that. Just give yourself a bit of time. You know, if it's absolutely terrible and you really don't like it, what have you lost in this case? You've lost a bit of sugar paste, so it's really nothing sort of too drastic, is it? Right, so what we're going to do now, so we're going to leave those bits to dry. We're going to paint the main body now. So I'm just going to turn this around. Now I'm actually going to paint the green up with one of my brushes actually. Let's do it with, what have we got here? Brush 2. Because I have found that the bigger brushes, so the flat 2 and the other one, the fan brush. Let me show you what that looks like. Actually, I've got a pink version of it here at the moment. That's the fan brush. Both of these brushes, they really, really absorb cocoa butter, so it's easier to mix it with another paintbrush and then dip it in there. Otherwise you find all your paint just disappears. It drives me crazy. So that's what I've been doing. Yeah, Belinda agrees. It is. It's honestly, creative people, I tell you, it's a hard life. I'm always saying this, you know. It's difficult because you have this vision in your mind about how things are going to turn out, and if it doesn't turn out right, oh no. So yeah, I'm always like, you like my pink brush, Maureen, do you? That's my fan brush, but I got a pink version sent to me this week. I know, I was talking to the supplier looking for different brushes, and that's what they sent me. Right, so we're back on the gooseberry green again. So we're just going to mix up a bit more now. And we're going to put some white into it. So if you're going to ever do any shading, you do need to add some white, because otherwise you can't shade something that's already that colour. So you need to put some white in. Now, there we go, mix a bit more. So we want some reasonable coverage with this. Like so. There we go. Sort of, so you can see the difference in colour. It is quite significant. I do sell fan brushes, Maureen, but I haven't got pink ones yet. They are on the site, but they're on they're normal ones, I'd say. I know you've got a pink thing going on. If I can get you a pink one, I'll get you a pink one. But I do quite like the idea of those pink ones, so I may switch over to those anyway. Right, okay, so let's start. We're going to make sure we've got plenty of cocoa butter in there. We're going to switch over to, we're going to use a combination actually. We're going to use this number 2 brush, and we're going to use the fan brush as well. Not the fan brush, the flat 2. So all I'm going to do, because I can't use that brush up the top there, is just get some colour in there. I'll never get my big brush in there, it's too tight. So we'll start it off with this brush. There we go, and then we'll go for the other brush. Now the brushes I sell do not have this ridiculously long, I've got a very long end on this flat 2 brush. It does drive me crazy a little bit. But there we go. Oh, we've had a delivery. My delivery man's just put something through the door. If anybody's waiting for moulds, I think they've just arrived. Right, so you can see then you get better coverage than if you do them with a smaller brush. we go. Now don't worry about if it's not sort of flat, which it won't be. It's going to look a bit textured, but that's what I'm aiming for, okay? So I'm going to make this clear now that I don't want this to be one flat matte colour. Because if I wanted it to be one flat matte colour, then I might as well have just done it green in the first place with a bit of sugar paste, and that would be it, wouldn't it? I want it to be a little bit shaded. So if you're wondering what I'm up to, that's why I am doing it like this. You can see the brush gives you better coverage quicker than if you do it with the other brushes, and it's because it's flatter. And I did introduce this brush about 3 weeks ago with the Christmas bauble class, and I did say I was finding things to do with it. So this is, for anyone who's already got one, this is something else you can now do with it. So I'm going to be introducing lots of different things you can do next year, painting wise. Looking very exciting at the moment. Now that's drying, so we're just going to leave that alone for the moment. So we're not going to touch that, and we're going to see what happens there. And we're going to now what we're doing next. Right, let's turn this around. We're going to start outlining. Now we're going to do this with the zero brush and black. So we're going to just turn this around. We're just going to let the jumper dry for a second before we attempt to do anything else. So if we let it dry, then we'll be able to paint over the top of it. Paint some different layers. Now this is where you need a steady hand. Now this is a zero brush, it's got a number on it there. I have also got a 00 brush, so if you are struggling because you can't paint really thin lines, there is another brush that's smaller than this, and that's quite helpful. So when you mix your black paint and you take it out, just twist it a little bit on the paint palette, and when you're going to get your thin lines, you need to keep your paintbrush, this tip bit here, facing the ceiling. Okay, so you just need to keep it like that. Could you press a knitting pattern mold into the sugar paste? Let me read this. When soft to the pattern, yeah, absolutely, yeah, why not? You could get some sugar paste, you could roll a textured knitting pattern over the top of it, then you could cut out with my lovely jumper cutter a nice jumper, and then you could paint it. Yeah, absolutely. As I say, I'm going to be painting a few jumpers over the next few weeks, so yeah, absolutely. Give it a go. There is actually quite a lot of possibility with this. I've opened a can of worms here, I think. Right, so because this is slightly cartoony, we're going to do some outlining. So the very first thing we're going to do, remembering, is taking our brush, and we're going to be facing the ceiling. Now we want nice thin lines. We don't want this to be thick. So we're just going to keep our brush up. And as I say, there's no pressure here, because if it goes wrong, you can put it in the bin, can't you? You can do another one. It's as simple as that. It really is. You don't have to worry about this. And we're just going to go, now we're going to just go around the top edge of this, which literally you don't even have to follow the line. If you just use the side of your brush, it will just clip it for you. So if you're thinking, oh, I've got to do a wobbly line, if you just run the side of your brush down there, it'll do it anyway. Okay, let's just turn that round a little bit. Like so. All right, now we're just going to run down probably one of the arms, and then we're going to go back to the middle. So we're going to outline all these stripes now. Again, not compulsory, but I think it looks quite nice because it comes out quite sort of cartoony. If you look at cartoons, you're going to get really you'll notice this now. It took me a while to notice it. If you look at things like Mickey Mouse or any of the cartoon characters, they've all got black outlines, and it actually really transforms things. Have a really close look and you'll see it, and that makes everything look a little bit more cartoony, and I quite like that look, you see. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I've just read, whose comment? Alison, you need a 0000 brush. That would be like one hair, wouldn't it? Right, okay, so I'm looking down now, I'm not looking at my comments at the moment. Make sure when you're doing this as well that the paint remains quite thick, otherwise you get these sort of wishy-washy lines, and we don't want that either. We want them to be nice thick lines, and not thick, dark lines, but you don't want to be doing it twice if you can help it, because otherwise you'll probably end up making your line quite thick. So again, You can breathe occasionally, in and out. Yeah, you could draw cartoon characters on the front of this if you want to. There is loads and loads of possibility with this. We Googled Christmas jumpers, Kelly and I, and oh, there were so many patterns and all sorts of things. And I was trying to find one that I could paint in, you know, obviously the time that I'm on here, which is roughly an hour. And this was the best one, we thought. So, but I have got some other ones I am going to show later in the week, early next week. And oh, get a blob then. So just take your time, keep your wrist on the cake board while you're doing this, because otherwise you can end up having lots of lines all over the place. You know, if your hand's doing this, just keep your wrist on the board and you'll be fine. Oh look, here we go. Jill's got your solution for you. I'm holding my breath. Are you holding your breath for me? I tell you, I'll breathe it in and out occasionally. I think the scariest thing I ever painted on here was probably that Halloween mask, which was, honestly, I don't think I breathed at all the whole time. So I'm not as worried by this. I tell you what this reminds me of a little bit is that sort of cat in the hat type illustration. It's a little bit like that. Anybody reads those books or has come across them? It's a little bit like that. So we're going to go across here. So we're nearly there. You can do all sorts of things as well. You can, like if you want to enhance, let's turn it around. If you want to enhance the cuffs, for example, you can take hold of a scriber and you can just mark them like this, because obviously it's soft sugar paste. So you can take a scriber and just put in a little cuff there. You see, that's quite straightforward. Okay. Right, now we're also going to just outline the sleeve. So again, same as before, you've got your black on your brush. If you just hold it to the side and just literally, it's like, I'll describe it as like wiping the brush down the side of the jumper. You won't have to paint it with the point. It's just going to pick the paint up, you see. So if you keep your brush at a bit of an angle and just come straight down the side, can you see what's happening? I'm not doing this with my brush. I'm using the side of my brush, and that does work really, really well. Let's turn it round. Go up the side as well. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to leave that to dry for a second while I just go, I was going to say attack the middle bit. I was going to repaint the middle bit. Right, so we're going to increase our colours now. Let's turning this around again. Gosh, that's hot, be careful. So we've got our brush number 2. Now I've also got brush 3 available as well, because I might do some blending, she says. Let's just see what I've had in brush 3. I've had some weird colour in there by the looks. Right, so taking our gooseberry green again. Now we want this to be darker, so mix next to it so you can see what you've got. So I've gone off camera slightly. Let me just pull this down a tiny bit. There we go. Otherwise I'm chatting away to myself, mixing, and no one can see what I'm doing. So we're going to make this darker so we can do a bit of shading. Now I know I'm taking a long time over this, but believe you me, you can actually get quite quick at these. So if anyone's thinking, oh my God, this is for one biscuit, honestly, just take your time. It will be absolutely fine. Okay, so there we go. We're mixing up ours. You can see the two greens next to each other. When I put this paint on, you will see quite a big difference between the two. So brush number 2. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take my colour like so. I'm going to work on the sides to start with. I'm going to take my dry brush and I'm just going to let a hair come out my dry brush. That's not very helpful. I'm just going to blend it in so I don't end up with any sort of harsh lines or anything horrid going on. Where are we? We're up here. Right. So I'm just going to, so we're rough painting over the top of it. So we're getting a bit of shading going on, you see. So I'm going to blend that in. When you think of a jumper, it's not flat, is it? It's lots of different sort of layers of colour. So we put our base layer down and then we're just sort of blending in this darker colour. You've got to blend as you go, because if you leave it, you're going to end up with stripes all down your jumper. So don't just do the stripes and then not blend it. It's really important that you blend it. And again, people will say to me, how hard do you press? And the answer to that is have a go, because you'll soon find out that if you press too hard, you'll whip the lot off. So it's a bit between the two. So you've got to press down to get it blended, but obviously don't press too hard, otherwise the whole lot will be off. There we go. And just keep going down. Just keep blending as you go. And then we'll leave that to dry and we'll paint the other sleeve. So when we do cocoa butter painting, everything is done in real time, which means that we're moving around. So we're not sticking to just doing the jumper and waiting and then just doing the arms and waiting. We move. And the reason we move is actually it really helps, because what it does, it makes sure everything is completely dry before you come back and do any over painting. Otherwise you end up with a situation where you probably will make a mistake and, you know, blend the colours because they won't be dry enough. So you know, do let it dry. There you go. Get in there. Just go back up here a little bit, put a bit more in. Then we're going to just let that dry again, like so. Okay, right, let's move this around. And we're just going to do the other side now. So we're going back to our black and our zero brush. Let me just turn this around. Oh, that's hot. Hot, hot, hot. Right. And then we'll do the same on this side. So just going to do our lines. So remember to keep your brush upright. So don't try and paint with your brush on the side. You must keep it upright. It's got a bit watery. So let's put a bit more paint in there. If you just pull your brush across and just flick it off on the end, you shouldn't need to go back. You can always practice on a bit of paper beforehand just to see how your brush is moving. You can't get the effect of building colour on a piece of paper, but you can certainly get the effect of what it feels like to sort of move the brush, because actually that comes with confidence as well. And lots of people who start painting, you know, may not have picked up a paintbrush, you know, since they were at school, and that's an awful long time, and then all of a sudden you pick one up and go, well, actually I really like this, you know, and it's some skill that you've put down and perhaps not really thought about, and suddenly it doesn't look like a bad idea at all, does it? Maybe it should be a New Year's resolution, you see. So if anyone wants to do this as a New Year's resolution, we've got a lovely beginner's course you can do. It's all done step by step. You can just have a go. And actually as well, it's not an expensive hobby. Once you've kind of got yourself set up, it really isn't. It is quite reasonable to do. There's you know, there's no expensive cutters or anything. As you know, set paintbrushes and some dusts, and you're up and running. So it's not too bad, and some cocoa butter. Right, so we're going to take this brush now. We're just going to run it down the side again. Remember what I said before? So I'll just run it on its side, like so, across the bottom. Turn it round. And we're going to come down the side. Like so. There you go. You can see how it picks up. It's really quite good from that point of view. And we're going to just join this as well. Where am I? Still on camera? Yeah. There you go. I'll tell you, there's loads of people on here who've done the beginner's course. So if anybody's got any questions about doing the beginner's course, do ask, because there's a few students on at the moment, and I can tell you it's brilliant, but if they can tell you, even better, you see, because then they've done it. and they know what it's like. What I haven't told them yet is there's going to be an extension to it that's coming next year, so there's going to be even more. Another little course for them to do. Keep them entertained, you see. Okay, so we've got that far now with the jumper, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to paint a belt. So while this is still, this will be dry enough now for me to paint a belt, so I'm going to just take this roughly. Now which way around am I going to do this? I'm going to go for it like this, so roughly halfway. It doesn't really matter. Actually I don't know what to do with this brush. Yeah, I'll do it with this brush, it's okay. So this is the 0 brush, but that's all right. And I'm just going to, I'm going to mark it actually first, so it doesn't really matter that it's faint. And I will switch over to brush 2 because I think, is this brush 2? Yes it is. Okay. Okay, right, so we use the width of our brush. We are going to extend this down a little bit as well, make it a little bit wider. How are we doing yet? Okay, maybe a tiny bit wider, little bit wider. So just sweep your brush across until you get the sort of thickness that you want. Okay, there we go. And then we are going, where is my brush? Let's clean this one up again. We're just going to add a last little bit of green. So we're going to make sure it's really dark green now. A little bit of shading. So a little bit more of the gooseberry green. Make sure it's quite a bit thicker now so we get a nice colour. Yes, somebody's worked it out. Hey, we're doing an elf. So we're just going to put some shading down here. So you'll see it's now quite a bit darker. And again, we're just going to blend this across the bottom. And a little bit more up the side. We're doing an elf jumper. Very well spotted. There's lots of these elves on the shelf, you see, so I thought, right, we're going to do an elf jumper today. And then we're going to put a little bit more dark by the side. Now, the reason we do that is because if you think about how you're sat, you tend to have a bit more of a shadow between your body and the arm, because that's creating a bit of shadow there. So we're just putting a little bit of extra green there. There we go. Like so. I think what we'll do is we'll just put a little bit more in down that side, just be a bit more generous there. But remember, keep blending, because otherwise you'll get all these weird sort of stripes on everything. We don't want that. Okay, so we're going to leave that like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to paint some buttons. Now, we're going to do these in white and we're going to do them on the green. So we're going to avoid the areas that we've just shaded. What brush have I got here? 2. Oh, I need brush 1 really. Let's find brush 1. Okay, which has got red in it. So we'll just clean our brush up. So if you want to clean your brush, all you do is just literally dip it in the cocoa butter and just twist it around. That gets the paint out for you. Okay, like that. Turn it around. So when you paint with cocoa butter, you can paint in layers. So you can paint, I'm just going to double check it because I don't want to end up with pink. You can paint white on top of a colour. That's how we correct mistakes. So I'm just going to take some white dust, make it nice and thick. I'm just going to paint some buttons. Again, you know, you can come up with your own designs for this, but this is what we're going to do here. So I'm just going to paint, not pipe. Paint some little buttons, like so. How many should we have? 3. And paint those on like that. And then we'll do another 3 underneath. Be generous with his buttons. Now initially they will be a little bit on the faded side. As you'll see, they're not really pure white, so we will go back and paint these in a minute when they're dry. So we'll give them a chance to dry. So we're building colour. So if you want to make something that's kind of really stark white, you need to kind of build the colour. We're also going to do a buckle. Now I'm hoping the black is dry, hopefully, she says. And what we'll do with the white as well is we will just paint over the top. Should be okay. Again, we can just build the colour. And across the bottom there as well. Okay, you can put a little latch thing there as well if you want to. Okay, right, let's go back again. Let's just check. Make them a bit whiter. Just sort of dab your paint in. That tends to make white sit a bit easier as well. Just, you know, literally dab your brush in. And then while those are drying, we're going to just outline the side of the jumper, and then we should be able to outline the buttons. Pop it on the cookie. And voila, we have a Christmas elf jumper cookie. Right, okay, so let's go back to this brush here. When you paint, does it taste of anything? Oh, interesting question. No, it doesn't taste of anything. If you put it on sugar paste, it will taste of sugar paste. If you paint anything, like if you painted a cake, you know, with some flowers or cat, dog or something on it, it won't taste any different. No, it'll be exactly the same. It's food colouring, so food colouring doesn't taste. So, you know, it's no different from if you were putting food colouring into buttercream. It doesn't tend to alter the taste of it, just changes the colour. So I'm back on my, what have I got here, 0 brush, and all I'm going to do now is just take my brush down the side again. I'm just going to tip it on its side, just outline it like that. I'm going to go across the bottom as well. So use the side. Which way am I going? That way. So if this was modelling paste, you would be able to do this. You would be able to paint directly onto a cookie. You would get a slightly different colour effect. You wouldn't get the brightness that you're going to get with this. For a start, the sleeves would be not white, so you would have to think about that as well. That's entirely up to you. Okay, let's turn that back round. And then we're going to outline the buttons. So just again, take my brush. And go round, just take your time. Don't have to outline it if you don't want to. You can leave them as they are. You can paint them a different colour. So let's say, for example, I decided that I wanted yellow buttons for some reason. I would need to paint my buttons white first, and then I would paint them yellow over the top. So you can't just paint them with yellow, otherwise they won't stand out. They will just blend with your green background. So you've got to go back to white, and then you can paint your colour on top to achieve that really nice sharp colour you want. So back to white and then to your colour. I didn't fancy trying to paint around with little blobs like this. I thought it's going to be much easier for me to add these, you know. The edging does make a difference, doesn't it? It really does make it stand out. I think it makes it, yeah, it makes, you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying not to create a flat biscuit. I don't want a flat design. So by putting the colouring on here and here, and it makes more logical sense as well. Now we're going to outline the buckle. Like so. Just take your time. We won't need to outline the middle bit actually because it's already done, isn't it? There we go. Right, now we've finished that. So what we'll do is just give it a second to dry. I'm just going to enhance that line there and there, make those a little bit darker. And then what we'll do is we'll pop it onto the cookie. So I'll show you how to do that. There we go. All right, so that's what it looks like so far. Now, we have got some piping gel here, or you can use some royal icing, I said, didn't I? So we're going to pop that there, and we're going to take our paintbrush, so any paintbrush really, it doesn't matter, and we're going to dip it into the piping gel, which is like a sticky, how to describe this stuff, it's like just sticky gel. It's called piping gel, it looks like gel, but it's good for sticking things to biscuits. So just pop a little thin layer of that on here. Now just think about this for a minute. You can make these and give them away. As I said, very importantly, next Friday is Christmas jumper day. So if you are thinking of designing any Christmas jumpers, now's your moment really. Then all we're going to do is just lift that onto there like that. And I'm actually just going to press it down very lightly. I'm not going to press too hard. There we go. Voila. One Christmas elf jumper. That's not bad, is it? I just think it's really different. I think it's something that if you want to practice painting and you've never had a go before, this is really, really easy to do. Very straightforward, nothing particularly left. Okay, we've got, what's that question there? If I left off the fondant and painted biscuit only, would it be better to paint the whole thing white before? I've never done it, so Jenny, you would need to try it to see what it's going to do. That's what I'm going to say to you with that, is have a go and see what it does. You're never going to achieve the pure white that you're going to get with sugar paste like this, but you will just have a go and see what it does. That's all I can recommend that you do with that. But there you go. So that is the, what was the piping gel? It's just called piping gel. It's not a very pretty product. It is literally like gel. Glycerin, there you go. That's something else you can use. It just looks like that. It's like hair gel, to be honest with you. Just called piping gel. And that's it. So that is my elf jumper for you. So I hope that it's inspired you to have a go. The effect is good, isn't it? It's quite cartoony. I quite like that effect. In fact, I got very carried away, so I've made 3 more. So I'm going to put all my elves together, and then what I will do is I will put them on my Instagram. So if anybody follows me on Instagram, you will see lots of elf jumpers on there. So if you want to stick any sugar paste to your biscuit, I normally use piping gel, but glycerin is fine, royal icing is fine, anything like that, absolutely fine. We're going to have a little jumper shop going on now. But this is one I did yesterday. I did 2 yesterday actually, so we've got a variety going on here, and we'll do this one as well. And then we can have a little elf shop, an elf jumper shop going on. Treat boxes, if anybody's doing treat boxes and you want to just add a jumper cookie, yeah, why not? Go for it. I say, that's what I reckon. You know, the cutter is on my website. It's on my website in the Christmas shop. So if you go to my website and go into cake supplies, which is at the top of the page, then go in the Christmas shop, you'll find the cookie cutters are in there. So there's a jumper and there's a waistcoat. You can buy them separately or you can buy them individually. Okay, I'm just going to put my other little elf jumper on there as well. There we go. All right, now we have a whole selection of elves. Let me just move that out of the way. There we go. How about that? Ta-da! They look fun, don't they? They're really good. Lots of fun for Christmas jumper day or whatever it is that's coming up on Friday. So a nice little, how long do they last? They last as long as any biscuit would last, which in my house is about 5 minutes. You could seal them in clear bags, that would look nice, or you could put them in a box and shut the lid. Whatever the life expectancy of cookies are, you will find them like that. Yeah, it's a really good idea. There's loads of options. I've got some more ideas coming up in the next, well, actually, to be honest, not long, is it? Week or so of painting these biscuits just to make them look a bit different. But I'm thinking things like treat boxes where, you know, you open it up and there's a brownie and a, you know, all sorts of different things, a couple of cupcakes. Oh, look at that. There's a Christmas jumper biscuit in there, you know, something like that. Definitely definitely something just a bit different, and it's fun as well. It's very impactful, isn't it? You look at it straight away and go, wow, it's a Christmas jumper, it's an elf, you know. So there are lots and lots of things you can do, and as I said, you can also do them with some of the transfer sheets, and I did talk about this the other day, is that if you are going to attempt this method, which is the putting the transfer sheet on with a hairdryer, only do it with something like the snowflakes. If you try and do it with anything else like the snowmen or anything, you're going to be having a lot of problems, because the transfer method doesn't work as well. But again, I will go through that in the next week or so you can see all of that. So there you go, Jumper City. Right. Okay, so that's my website coming up now, tracyscakes.co.uk. That's where you'll find the jumper cutters, which is in the Christmas shop. So go onto the website. On the top right hand side, you'll see the word cake supplies. Click that, and it will take you through to the Christmas shop, and that is where you will find this and the waistcoat. You can buy them together or separately, it's entirely up to you. Or maybe I've persuaded you to have a go at painting, when in that case you need to go to the online cake school and sign up for the beginners course, and have a go at that next year. And there's course ranges in there, everything from sort of £10 upwards. So there's loads of courses on offer at the moment as well, including Christmas. So if you want to have a go at Christmas, then do pop over there and have a look. So I hope you've enjoyed this morning. I will be back again on Tuesday evening. Yes, I'm back Tuesday evening with Kelly, hopefully. So yes, we'll be back Tuesday evening, and again on Thursday morning next week, which suddenly it's gathering pace for Christmas, isn't it? You're suddenly thinking, wow, we are moving quite quickly towards Christmas. So all your lovely ideas that you're going to be painting and making in the next few weeks. If you do make anything on sugar and crumbs that you've seen me do on here, do tag me in it so I can have a look and see how you get on. I'm always interested to see how you go. Thank you very much for joining me, and so if you need any further information, there is my website, and I will see you all again on Tuesday evening. So thanks very much. Bye.